Great Scott! Yes, everyone, Back to the Future has turned 40 years old this year. Probably the most film that screams the 1980s. Some have come close, like E.T. or whatever, but Back to the Future has grown in esteem and grown so much popularity. I'll save the legacy for later. But yeah, it's time to go back to the past, or future, of this movie and see how it all started. The story centers on a teenager, Marty McFly, played by Michael J. Fox, who meets up with a scientist, Doc Brown, played by Christopher Lloyd. And then out of nowhere, terrorists arrive unexpectedly and gun him down. So Marty uses his DeLorean to time travel back to the past and accidentally separates his parents from falling in love, thus preventing his own birth. On top of getting them back together, Marty must outrun a bully named Biff, get back to the present time, and save his friend Doc Brown from being shot. Much like Ghostbusters, the plot will make your head spin, but it is very natural to the plot. I know time traveling plots are nothing new, but this is more of a way of let's have the character go back and see his parents at a young age. But I do love the plot in the movie. Speaking of the movie, the history of the idea of the movie is pretty interesting. Bob Gale wrote and produced the movie, and the director is Robert Zemeckis, who's recognizable by moviegoers. They came up with the idea of the movie back in 1980 and took 5 years before the movie premiered. Well, the project was rejected more than 40 times by various studios because it was not considered raunchy enough to compete with the successful comedies of the era. Thankfully, Universal was secured for the film for Zemeckis, and the movie was ready. The first movie was a success. Now, when did I start watching this movie? Well, I sadly never watched it on TV, nor I got on VHS or DVD back then. But in 2010, during its 25th anniversary, Nick at Night Channel aired all 3 Back to the Future movies, and I promised I would watch them, and I was perfect for the age because I just started high school. And yeah, the first movie is still awesome. It got better after rewatching it for like 4th time, something like that, since I haven't watched it in years, but still a great 80s film. Let's talk about the characters. So far, only 5 characters get major roles, while the rest are very brief. Marty does have siblings, but they're not in it for that long. I like that the actor plays the high school principal the same role in 1955 and 1985. Marty's girlfriend Jennifer only appears in the beginning and the ending, and so far in the first movie, she's played by Claudia Wells, but in the sequels, she didn't return playing Jennifer. Instead, they replaced Elizabeth Shue. But man, I wish Jennifer got more appearances. Now to the main 5, Marty, Doc Brown, Lorraine, George, and Biff. These characters are charming in the roles. I'll start with Marty's parents first. George is more of a geeky, nerdy student who would later on stand up to Biff and beat him up. And in the present, he grows into a cowardly, submissive father. I do like the growth of George's character, though Crispin Glover only played the role as George in the first one. He didn't return in the second movie and replaced with Jeffrey Wiseman. I didn't notice until I looked it up, and the main reason why is because he sought a higher salary, but the producers found unacceptable. I mean, I don't feel too bad for Glover doing the role as George. I actually like it. Lorraine is a teenager, outgoing one that secretly falls in love with Marty. Not George, but Marty. In the present, she's an unhappy alcoholic mother. Lorraine's role mainly in the past is pretty good. It is kind of ewy that she's dating a guy who hasn't met and not knowing that will later be her future son. I mean, it's both kind of funny and kind of uncomfortable at the same time. Like, I know Lorraine has romantic feelings, but when Marty is like, you gotta go with this guy who's more good looking. Thankfully it worked after Marty almost disappearing during the Johnny B. Good scene. Let's talk about Biff. In the present, he's George's supervisor, but in 1955, he becomes a bully, and each version of Biff would pass along in the franchise. I really love Biff. He's not only a bully to George, but a bully to Marty. He even keeps on flirting with Lorraine, but Lorraine doesn't like Biff. And while I really can't get into bullies in media, this is one of the best bullies in media. And I like that they use a bully as an antagonist rather than a villain that has more power than he is. I'm sure Tom Wilson had fun playing as Biff. Biff in the first movie is pretty great. Now let's get to the duos, Marty and Doc Brown. First off, great casting for these two. Second, I loved interactions between the two, either present or past. Third, it didn't really bother that a high school boy hanging out with a mad scientist. It was just interaction. Marty McFly is a confident teenager who likes to be a rock star one day, and then when he goes to the past, he begins to help George and Lorraine for getting together. Besides the sequels, I think Marty is really good in this one. I like that moment where he has to teach his father about important things in life in the past, but in the present, his father taught him. Or when Marty shows past Doc the video of showing future Doc and Doc screams 1.21 gigawatts, I really like those. If I had to rank Marty of protagonists in media, he would be top 30, I think. Also, side note, it was originally going to be Eric Stoltz to play Marty McFly, but after being recast, they went with Michael J. Fox, who was on the show Family Ties during its release. Well, I didn't know much of Eric Stoltz. I still think Michael J. Fox fits perfectly as Marty. Christopher Lloyd is a perfect choice to play Doc Brown, and I like Doc Brown over Marty. He's eccentric brilliance, enthusiastic, and a bit of a touch of absent-mindedness. That's the kind of scientist I want in real life. He's more of a father figure to Marty than George. Plus, I just love Doc's sense of humor, in which I'll get to one in a second. But yeah, that's all about the characters. Let's get to mainly the genre. Yeah, this is crazy. It's a comedy, it's a science fiction, it's an action movie, and a high school movie. It's mainly more on science fiction because of time traveling. You have comedy where it has humorous moments, especially this one.
There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
That is hands down the funniest line in the movie. Makes me laugh every time I hear that quote. The action scenes are brief, but they're still really good, like past Doc trying to use a lightning rod to propel the DeLorean to go back to the future. And the high school stuff is, well, where 80s films has those genres at the time. That's all about the genre for this movie. I really like the clever usage of the past and present. Like they mentioned Ronald Reagan because he was an actor in the 50s before he became president in the 80s. Love that detail. Speaking of details, that's one of the highlights. All those little details in the background, the foreground, setups, payoffs, you name it, and it would continue in the sequels. I even like the lesson of the whole stand up for yourself. If someone is giving you insults, fight back. You might accomplish more than you think. Besides those, there are an amount of great stuff in it. The music, of course, is fantastic. It's composed by Alan Silverstreet, and man, the main theme sounds awesome. Even the song The Power of Love is very good. It's not on my top 10 favorites, nor it's very earworm type song, but it is a really good one overall. The special effects are amazing as always. The layers upon layers of family dynamics and values are great. Again, there's so many I want to say other than it's still great. The only thing I'm kind of mixed in the movie is the makeup. Some of it looks great. By far, the makeup on Doc Brown looks perfect. Biff's makeup is not too bad. Marty's parents are the only ones I wasn't a fan of the makeup for them in the present era. I knew you had to undergo extensive aging makeup, but it was only in those scenes, and they didn't use makeup in the past scenes. Really minor nitpick. And since there's sequels, the first movie ended on a cliffhanger where Doc comes back and insists Marty to go to the future. And yeah, it was good to get a cliffhanger to say that the second movie will be next. Man, that was a lot to say about Back to the Future. Now, let's get to Legacy. And boy, there is a lot to say. While Star Wars always up there when it comes to the series and a boatload of merchandise, Back to the Future does have merchandise. It's kind of hard to know which is Universal's biggest franchise or series, though Fast and the Furious is the big one, but its merchandise is not as big as some of the others. Jurassic Park is pretty close, and it does have a wide variety of merchandise. I would say Back to the Future is like one of the big iconic symbols of Universal. The box office of the movie was a great success and the highest grossing film of 1985 worldwide. It made it to National Film Registry in 2007, 22 years after its release. Took a while to get there, but it did. AFI ranked number 10 in the best science fiction films. It received multiple award nominations, though the Academy Awards had 4 nominations with only 1 win. I mean, it really could have got more nominations, but no best visual effects. I mean, it has effects, but that category had a small lineup. With E.T., I get it because that was important, but come on. Back to the Future could have got more than 4. Other than that, they launched multi-medium franchise, including a theme park ride at Universal Studios, which sadly I didn't ride on it last year. There's an animated TV series, a stage musical, and a video game, which I need to play that at some point. Back to the Future had so many inspiration of films. And speaking of that, there's an animated show, Rick and Morty, that the characters were inspired by Doc and Marty. The receptions, I mean, good gracious, there's so many to pick. Whoa, this is heavy. Like I mentioned, the series is now a trilogy, with the second movie that goes in the future, and the third movie that goes back to the Western times. And then the movie wraps up in that trilogy. I know some people really want a Back to the Future 4, and frankly, I don't think it's gonna happen. The casts are getting old, Michael J. Fox has Parkinson's disease, but yeah, the franchise is staying as a trilogy. Will I talk about the sequels? In the future, yes, but I'll do them as a ranking video with only 3 movies. Bottom line, Back to the Future has a great variety of pop culture when it comes to the audience from the 80s up until now. And that is it about Back to the Future, a timeless film, pun intended. Now, where would I rank this film with my favorites list? I say it's in my top 20. Yeah, about number 20 on the mark. I know it's not higher than, say, Ghostbusters, because that's my type of 80s film, and I do like it more than E.T. when it comes to the plot and characters. Back to the Future is very solid. So glad I watched it as a teenager, and I still love it as an adult. I definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it, but if you have, go watch it again and watch the whole trilogy. That is all for the video. Happy 40 years to Back to the Future. But that's not all. I have another anniversary movie review later this month. Stay tuned. I'll see you all in the next one, folks. Bye bye!